Under the shadows of revolution and empire, few names echo louder than that of Imam Khomeini, the man who dared to defy a king and redraw the map of modern Islam. But behind the iconic black turban, firebrand speeches, and clenched fist of revolution lies a deeper, lesser-known story, one of exile, philosophy, and a doctrine that would redefine power itself. Wilayat-e-Faqih. Born in 1902 in the modest town of Qom in Iran, young Ruhollah wasn't just raised on the Quran, he was forged in the crucible of political resistance. His father was assassinated by agents of a feudal lord when Khomeini was only 5 months old. That early loss taught him two things: the brutality of unchecked power and the obligation to stand against it. But Khomeini didn't rush into politics. For decades, he was a scholar first, a mystic, a jurist. Spent years mastering Islamic jurisprudence, philosophy, and ethics. Few know that before his rise as a political leader. Khomeini was a revered teacher of Irfan Islamic mysticism, lecturing on divine love, metaphysical unity, and spiritual purification. Then came 1963. The Shah, backed by Western powers, launched his White Revolution, a series of reforms seen by many clerics as a cover for authoritarianism and cultural erosion. Khomeini's voice rose in protest, and the regime responded with brutal suppression. Arrested, silenced, exiled first to Turkey, then Iraq, and finally France. But exile didn't quiet him, it amplified him. In a small Parisian suburb, with cassette tapes smuggled into Iran like contraband weapons, Khomeini's message spread. But it wasn't just a call for revolt, it was a new blueprint for governance. Wilayat-e-Faqih, or guardianship of the jurist, was no ordinary doctrine. It claimed that in the absence of the infallible imam, a qualified Islamic jurist should lead the people. Not just in mosques, in courts, in parliaments, in war, in every aspect of life. It was the bold claim that Islam is not just a religion, but a complete system of governance. The cleric would become king not through bloodline, but through piety and jurisprudence. Critics inside and outside the Shia world were stunned. How could one man wield such spiritual and political power? But for Khomeini, the alternative was worse: a nation adrift, ruled by secular tyrants or foreign puppets. So when the Shah fled Iran in 1979 and millions gathered to welcome Khomeini home, it wasn't just a political return. It was the birth of the Islamic Republic, a new kind of state, led by a faqih. But here's what many forget. Khomeini's concept of leadership was not static. In 1988, near the end of his life, he issued a rare and powerful letter expanding the powers of the supreme leader, stating that the Wilayat-e-Faqih holds absolute authority, even over the conventional pillars of Islam if the state's survival demanded it. This meant the supreme leader could suspend religious duties, override laws, even halt prayers during war. That wasn't theology. It was raw power fused with divine legitimacy. Yet Khomeini was not a typical authoritarian. He lived humbly. He banned images of himself in government buildings, refused to give positions to his sons. His personal library was filled not just with religious texts, but works of poetry and philosophy. In private, he wept during night prayers. In public, he declared death sentences against enemies of the revolution. Today, the shadow of Wilayat-e-Faqih stretches far beyond Iran. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Shia militias in Iraq. Even Houthi rebels in Yemen, many draw ideological and logistical strength from Tehran's clerical system. But the original idea, as Khomeini framed it, was not about exporting power. It was about resisting humiliation. A Muslim world rising from colonial ruins, reclaiming its destiny not by tanks, but through spiritual defiance. Yet that defiance came at a cost. The Iran-Iraq War, internal purges, executions of political dissidents, Khomeini's vision. For many also cast a long shadow of fear. The 1988 prison massacres, still cloaked in secrecy, are rarely spoken of inside Iran, but remain a wound for many outside it. And in his final days, as cancer gnawed at his body, Khomeini wrote no memoirs, gave no farewell speech. He passed in silence, leaving behind a constitution, a revolution, and a system that survives decades after his death, still controversial, still polarizing, still alive. Imam Khomeini wasn't just a revolutionary. He was a paradox, a philosopher, king in a black turban, a mystic who embraced power. It's a man whose ideas continue to shape the Middle East long after his death. For those who study history, not just headlines, the story of Wilayat-e-Faqih remains a haunting reminder. Sometimes, the pen of a jurist can redraw borders more sharply than the sword.